sometimes I think we look and I think we miss some of the most powerful opportunities that we have to serve and to help each other. And I would say protect the herd, like help people heal along the way. And I think the place that you'll find some of your greatest, most useful things that you have to help is actually in your scars. It's in your scars. It's in the areas where you've been hurt, where you've been wounded. One of the scriptures you and I is one of our favorite ones, 2 Corinthians 1:3-4 says, praise be to the God and Father of our Lord Jesus Christ. Now I want you to connect these dots. This is so good. He said, the Father of all compassion and the God of all comfort, who comforts us in our troubles so that we can comfort those in any trouble with the comfort we ourselves have received from God. In other words, the healing God brought you through left a scar on you. And what is a scar except it's proof of healing?
That's right.
It's proof of healing. We live in a culture that we think scars are unsightly. So you go get laser to try to get it, hide the scar. And you got to understand the power. Don't ever underestimate the power of a scar. Anytime you see a scar, you see a story. And don't you dare underestimate what God can do with your scar. God can do more with your scar than you could do with smooth skin.
That's right.
God can do a lot with your scar. And so it's within our scars. It's in our scars and within our stories and the things that we wish never happened. And the things that lingered for a long time, but now have healed up, and there's proof. And when you take that proof of healing to someone who has an open wound and go, let me show you that scar. Let me show you, this is what can happen. It brings us just a whole different wave of hope.
A scar shows you that you went through something and you survived, right? You look at animals with scars, and we see that all the time, but the animals that are at the periphery of the herds, the older ones, the ones that have been around the block a few times and are protecting those in the middle, they all have scars. They all look like that, right? And they can, I'm sure they even recognize it in each other sometimes, right? Where it's like an elephant goes up to another elephant and they kind of compare their backsides and they're like, lion? Yeah, me too. Me too. Exactly. That guy down the block, man, he's nasty. But they know, like, there's something about your scars that shows that you have survived and that you know how to get through the next thing. I want to continue on the verse that you started a minute ago. I want to read the rest of it. It says, for just as we share abundantly in the sufferings of Christ, so also our comfort abounds through Christ. If we're distressed, it's for your comfort and salvation. If we are comforted, it is for your comfort, which produces in you patient endurance of the same sufferings we suffer. And our hope for you is firm, because we know that just as you share in our sufferings, so also you share in our comfort. I want to tell you a little story that was actually kind of the inspiration and jumping off point for us when we were talking about our sermons and the whole idea of the herd thing. And it was something personal that happened to me. Both of our boys, we've even talked about this within this series, have autism, and then we have a daughter that's a little bit older. And one time I was in a store and just had a really unfortunate situation unfold where some people were not very kind, and my boys were melting down. Hudson actually stripped down to his underwear and tried to run out of the store. I've got a baby in a baby carrier, right? My daughter is crying because she's seeing people be really mean to her brothers in that situation, and I can usually be pretty strong, but I was like I was holding it together by a thread that day. And I get out to the parking lot and I'm trying to get my kids in the car, and I'm like, my hands are shaking, my kids are bawling. And this lady comes out of the store, and I don't know her from Adam. And she comes up and she doesn't say a word to me. She just grabs me and wraps me in a bear hug. And I just start melting into her shoulder. And I just cry, and she just holds me. She doesn't let go. She doesn't introduce herself. She just holds me while I sob in her shoulder. And then once I finally kind of start calming down and pull myself together, she steps back from me and she looks in my eyes and she says, look me in the eyes, listen to me. You are not alone. She said, I'm a special needs teacher. I know what I'm looking at. And she said, there are moms and teachers and advocates and just general people who care all around you. You're never alone. We are a herd. And there are so many more of us than you think. And that was such a powerful moment for me. And so now, like, that impacted me to the point that, number one, doesn't matter what happens and who's looking and what they say, I know I'm not alone. I don't feel alone in those scenarios anymore, ever, because I know there's somebody here that's in my herd. And then I choose to be part of the herd. She set that light bulb off for me. It's not just about somebody protecting me. I've been through some stuff now. So I can turn around and go, I see that mom in the store that's hanging on by a thread. I see this person in the situation, and I can go over and go, hey, I got you. You're killing it today. You're a great mom. You got this, right? We can be on the inside and the outside at the same time. And our scars and the stuff we've been through uniquely equips us to be able to touch somebody else's life. Look, I can minister to somebody and try to be there for them no matter what they've been through, but there's something about when you've been through something very specific that you can turn around and minister to somebody who's specifically going through that thing, right? Like, I have trauma too. I see you. You're not alone. The hurt is here. Like, I've had a miscarriage too. My spouse has walked out on me too. I've been sexually abused too. Those things aren't beautiful experiences, but the scars that they leave behind and the comfort that you're able to pass on, that's beautiful. You are not alone.